Welcome back to the HUD, everyone. I'm Zacharoni, and when I was young, I didn't realize that the important games are sometimes the mature ones. And my mom was like, no, you can't play this game because you are not old enough for it yet. But in my teenage years, I would kind of gross out with mature content. Even my friend Storgero remembers what I was like when we played mature games together. But now I got used to it in adulthood. And now I'm a big boy playing some of the mature games like God of War, Bayonetta, and Nier Automata. Man, it's amazing how in a few years you can outgrow things that you hate so easily, really. And with the release of Devil May Cry 5, it's time to recap all 4 games I've been playing, and what I think of them. So let's talk about the first Devil May Cry game. It tells a simple story involving Dante, a half-human and half-demon who likes to fight other demons for the thrill of it. And he has been hired to take down his father's enemy, Mundus, who obviously wants to conquer the human world, of course. But the story is not that important. In fact, it just tells a simple story, really. It's the gameplay that matters, and I'm aware that this game came out before God of War and Bayonetta. And in those games, they have 2 types of melee attack that you can combine to create satisfying combos. But in Devil May Cry, you only have 1 melee attack and 1 range attack that requires you to lock onto an enemy. And speaking of lock-on, it's the only way you can do a launcher on an enemy, by moving the analog stick away from the enemy and then pressing the attack button to send them flying, which can be difficult at first, but I got used to it though. But I didn't like that dodging is tied to the jump button when you are locking onto an enemy, and I wish that I can toggle targets when using the lock-on ability. Even if the buttons are limited, the combat is still fun to play, with different enemy varieties that kept me on my toes, and the bosses are some of the most challenging I have ever faced. Until the next ones, of course. Next on the list is Devil May Cry 2 and well, if you watched my leftover videos on this game, you'll probably know my first opinion about this. Combat is dumbed down, lacks proper combos, and guns are way overpowered. In fact, the launcher where you send enemies up in the air with your sword is also overpowered, sending them way too high, like they are defying gravity. But at least they separated the dodge and jump to separate buttons, so I guess that's an improvement really. Then after that, I just stopped playing it and decided to go straight to the third game titled Devil May Cry 3, or Devil May Cry 0 because it's a prequel to the first game really. So in Devil May Cry 3, it involves a younger Dante who is settling businesses with his power-hungry brother, Virgil, who is like, I'm gonna be the most powerful demon in the whole universe, and Dante is like, sure, whatever, just stop stealing all my stuff would you, and learn to share like brothers will ya? So as you can tell, this game has more personality than the first game. In fact, some of the bosses have personality as well. Like they're the 2 swords that can't stop talking, and Dante let them join him if they agree not to talk, even if they are secretly impressed with him. But what about the gameplay? Well, despite having the dodge command tied to the jump button again, making it difficult to dodge incoming attacks, I got used to it, and combat is still fun, especially with the new weapons you get to create more combos. Also, switching targets is now more accessible, thanks to pressing the left analog stick, and the bosses are more challenging, especially the final confrontation with Virgil. Plus, there are these styles that I can use for combat, but the only one I use throughout the game is Trickster, that can allow me to do a quick dash that is an alternative to dodging really. Last but not least is Devil May Cry 4, the first next-gen game for the PS3, Xbox One, and PC. But I'm playing the special edition for the PC that was released in 2015. Now I was going to make a joke saying that this is Devil May Cry 2 because it takes place between 1 and 2. But then Capcom made the announcement that this game takes place after Devil May Cry 2, so I guess we'll now call this game Devil May Cry 3 then. But if you just want to pretend that Devil May Cry 2 doesn't exist, then we'll just call it 1.5 or Devil May Trigger Happy. And while we're at it, let's just call Ninja Theory's Devil May Cry Devil May Edgelord, just so we can easily forget about that one. Anyway, back to DMC4. We are casting the role of Neo, a half-demon similar to Dante, only he has a demonic arm that allows him to grab enemies and slam them into the ground. And while he's a fun character to play as, I didn't find him as memorable as Dante. I mean, he's got the same personality as Dante, but he takes things too seriously. unlike Dante, who never takes things seriously, well, sometimes, and he's just fun to watch. Like, instead of Dante playing a board game like Neo does, he just cut the dice in half, indicating that he has no time for games. Which I agree, because this section slows the pacing down really. Also, you can only play as him in a few chapters later, which is a real shame because he's got some of the fun toys to play with, like Pandora's box that can morph into a rocket launcher and an almighty laser beam. But I never managed to get it into its final form from what I've seen in the cutscene. Don't know how he did that really. So now to wrap this up, which Devil May Cry game did I like the most? Well, it's definitely not Devil May Trigger Happy. That one goes straight into the closet with Devil May Edgelord. The third Devil May Cry was good, but there are still some things that is past its time, like a live system that is kind of arbitrary for a game that is hard. Though this was released in 2001, so I guess new grounds of design was still in the works. And now we are left with Devil May Cry 3/0 and Devil May Cry 4/2/3. So Devil May Cry 4 got some improvements, like you can switch Dante's style with the D-pad, which makes things quicker than going to the menu. But the level structure seems pretty questionable. I mean, you already got the switch from Neo to Dante moment, which takes up the 12 chapters later, but at Dante, you face against the same bosses that Neo faces earlier, making it feel like it's running out of ideas. Oh, and if anyone remembers my first part of this leftover, the tutorial was one of the longest I have ever faced. It's just one long boss fight against the main hero. I mean, why can't they just do the tutorial in the cinematic? He was facing a horde of demons really. So my favorite out of the 4 games is Devil May Cry 3, the game that put Dante back on track with its rewarding gameplay, stylish combos, and challenging bosses. Plus, you play a Dante throughout the whole game, which makes the experience better than switching characters out a few chapters later. And I'm aware that the 5th game will have this feature, but will they get it right? Well, we'll just have to wait and see really. And that's your second helpings of all 4 Devil May Cry games. I hope you appreciate my opinions, and if you like what you see, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. But until then, I'm Zacharoni. Enjoy your pizza, and I'll see you next time.